What's going on, everybody? It's EricRayweather back here, and in today's video I'm going to be doing my football game tier list. Now, if you don't know what a tier list is, this is kind of like the popular thing right now. A lot of people on YouTube and social media are doing it. You're basically ranking something in tiers. So people do it with music, movies, you name it, and we're going to do it with football games today. So Soft Drink Sports actually created this tier list, so if you want to go check him out on Twitter, give him a follow. He also has a YouTube channel and he did his own tier list. I know some other guys have done it. I saw Wheels do it. Some other people might have done their own list as well. So basically, how this works is the S tier is like God level, untouchable, best of all time type stuff. A is like classic. B, is good, above average. C is average. D and E are like, okay, these games ain't that great. And F is just complete trash, garbage. We don't want to touch it. We don't want to talk about it. We don't even want to think that it ever existed. So most people, when they do this list, it's pretty much like your own opinion of like what games you enjoyed the most, your bias. I'm going to try to keep this list like half my opinion, my personal bias of how I felt about the games, but the other half I'm going to kind of take into account how these games were received by the majority, because there's some years that I think are good, but a lot of people just didn't think was a good game, and vice versa. So I'm going to try to keep all of that in, kind of mind here when I'm doing my list. So let's get started. We'll start with the Maddens first, I guess, since this is a Madden channel and most of y'all are here for that. Madden 19, that is an E tier game. That game is really bad, one of the worst ever. I won't put it in F because I'm going to tell you why. Like when I show you what I consider a F tier game, it's even way worse than this. But this is pretty close to F. Madden 18 right there with it. I mean, these are just two of my least favorite games ever. I did not have fun playing them. The gameplay was bad. The skill gap I thought was pretty bad overall. Madden 19 I like a little better than 18 just because, if you played Ultimate Team, the first like 6 months of that were really good and fun, but gameplay wasn't good, franchise wasn't really good, long shot, didn't like it. So that's that. Madden 17, I'll put that in the D tier, even though this is very close with 18 and 19 for me, but Madden 17, gameplay-wise, was a little bit better. I mean, you still had some things like nickel blitz and stuff like that, but felt like the skill gap was a little bit better in 17. I didn't hate 17 as much as 18 and 19. I had a little bit more enjoyment with 17, so it's not much better than these two, but I don't feel like it deserves to be in the same tier class with those either. Now, Madden 16, this is where we're going to get a little controversial. For me, I'm going to put this in the C tier. Now, again, these 4 years of Madden right here, like, look, it even spells L. These were kind of an L. This is when the franchise, to me, really started, like, really going down. Like, after PS2, there was definitely a slower decline, and it wasn't what it was, but 16 to now is, like, when it really started going off a cliff. But 16 was at least, I had fun playing 16. The only thing I really hated about 16 was the aggressive catch. That is the only thing that kind of reduced the skill gap that year, but it was my first year playing Ultimate Team, so that was a lot of fun. Overall, the gameplay was fun for me. I just enjoyed this game, but if I was removing my bias from it completely, I would probably put this as a D tier game. All 4 of these Maddens are really very close in terms of like quality of game, but 16 out of all of these, I had the most fun playing. And to this day, I still think about how much fun I did have playing 16. So for me, I'm putting it as a C tier game just because of my own personal enjoyment. And Madden 15 will go right there with it. I really enjoyed 15. I think 15 is significantly better than 16 on to now. But 15, I thought the gameplay was pretty decent that year. I had a lot of fun with 15, so that's why I'm putting it at the C. Madden 25. This is the Xbox One cover for Madden 25, but we're gonna rate the 360 PS3 version. The 360 and PS3 version of Madden 25 was not bad. That was a pretty good game. The Xbox One version was really bad. Personally, me, I don't like Madden 25. If I was just going off of my own, I would put this in the D tier, but a lot of people enjoyed this game, so I think C tier is fair for Madden 25. Madden 13, I'm gonna put that in the D tier. This is a game I liked Madden 13. I had fun playing Madden 13. I thought the gameplay was fun that year, but you can't like overlook the fact that this was the year that franchise completely got gutted. They had to kind of like rebuild on a new engine and they lost everything. So Madden 13 franchise just gutted, bare bones, nothing there. And it's just kind of hard to put this above a D level game because there wasn't enough there. Even though I thought the gameplay was okay, it wasn't its best, but it was okay. Madden 12, I'd put this in the C tier. This is a game I didn't enjoy that much, but I know so many people did. it definitely ain't the worst Madden, ain't the best Madden. I think it's like run of the mill, you know. Franchise mode, this was the last year that franchise mode was really good and things like that. But that's a decent Madden, even though for me personally, it's not one of my favorites. Madden 11 isn't on here. I would probably put Madden 11 maybe in the C or B tier as well. I think Madden 11 was a pretty good game. A lot of people, that's their favorite game, I've heard. But I would put it in the B or C, somewhere in there. But it's not on here. Madden 10. Now, if I was going off just my own bias and nothing else, this would be a God level game for me. I love Madden 10. I'm going to put it in the B tier. I'm trying to be fair. I'm trying to be not completely biased with this list. Madden 10 is one of my favorite Maddens ever. It was the Madden I was the best at competitively. This was my peak in terms of like competing in Madden. The gameplay was so good this year. Franchise was still pretty good. I think you still had Superstar mode as well. This was also the year that Ultimate Team got introduced, even though a lot of people don't like that. For the time, that was really like groundbreaking. That was big for, just sports games and stuff like that. Even though it was already in FIFA, but it was really started taking off once it came to Madden. I love Madden 10. Like, I could easily put this in the S tier, but I'm trying to be fair with the rankings and not get too crazy. Madden 09 isn't on here. That would be in the E level with 18 and 19. That was a terrible year. Terrible year. Hate Madden 09. Gameplay, terrible. Madden 08, where's that at? This beauty right here. This is a God level game. This is my favorite Madden ever. Now, it wasn't necessarily as groundbreaking for the time as some of the earlier PS2 Maddens that introduced things like hit stick, owner mode, superstar mode. Like, those games for the time really introduced a lot of groundbreaking, innovative things that changed football gaming. Madden 08 to me is like the culmination of all those groundbreaking things coming full circle, coming together. It was a deep game on PS2. Like, franchise was like the deepest it had ever been. The gameplay was good on PS2. You had Superstar mode. You had everything. And the crazy thing about 08, it's the only Madden game that was good on both generations. On PS2, it was phenomenal. But on 360, PS3, it was still a good game. Whereas Madden 06 and Madden 07 on the next gen were some of the worst Maddens ever, because they were basically bare bones and ported over. And they were, other than graphics, there was nothing there. Literally nothing. 08 was the first year on next gen that was like, okay, like now we're taking the leap on next gen. So it was good on PS2, it was good on the 360, it was great on PC. It still to this day gets modded on PC. It's like one of the best versions of Madden you could ever play if you have 08 on PC. This game was just across all consoles, all ways to play, all generations, was great. On 360 is what I played this game. It was a little bit more arcadey of like a gameplay style on 360, but it was just so much fun. This was the most fun Madden I have ever had to this day, and I don't think that'll ever be topped. God level game. Now, Madden 07 on PS2. That's an A tier game. This was a lot of people's favorite Madden from back then. Gameplay might have even been better in 07 than it was in 08. Gameplay was phenomenal this year. It was a deep game just like 08. One of the best Maddens ever. Now, 07 on 360 is an F tier game. Terrible. And while we're getting into that, Madden 06. We got two Madden 06s here, and I know he did this for a reason, because Madden 06 is the biggest piece of trash ever on 360. Literally just ported over, nothing to the game, played like garbage. That's why I can't put 18 and 19 down there, because as bad as they are, 06 on 360 was so bad. If you didn't play it, you can't even imagine how bad it was. Now, Madden 06 on PS2, that's an A-level game. Some people might put that in the S level, and I would not complain. This is the year to introduce Superstar mode, things like that. This was a phenomenal game. This is a lot of people's favorite Madden. It's one of my favorites. I played a lot of this game, but it just doesn't hold that same place as some of these S-level tier games that I'm going to get to in a minute. And speaking of that, we have Madden 05, which, I mean, come on. Like, you don't even have to think about this. This was, like, for some people, the best Madden ever, and I wouldn't argue. I mean, this was groundbreaking. This made the defense matter. You had hit stick. You had the spy. You could put people on QB spies. You could man extra people up, put them in different zones. Like, this is what changed defense in Madden. Such a great game. And then, while we're on that topic, 04, that has to be another God-level game, too, because you could ask so many people what's their favorite Madden of all time, and so many people are going to say the one with Mike Vick on the cover. This year introduced owner mode, playmaker. Maybe the Vision Cone was this year. That might have been a couple years later, but 04 was just another, like, 04, 05, man, that was just like a special time. These, like I said, groundbreaking, brought new things and innovative things to the game that were, came full circle once we hit Madden 08. But 04 to 08 on PS2, I mean, that is like the golden run of Madden right there. Now, Madden 03 isn't on here. I'd probably put 03 in as like a B tier. That was a pretty good game. Madden 02 is on here. I'll put that in the B tier as well. For its time, Madden 02 wasn't like super groundbreaking. It did like add expansion teams and stuff like that. Like you could have the expansion draft, but 02 for its time was a very good Madden. That was like the first Madden for me that I really like started to like really fall in love with the franchise. So I put that at B. It's just not quite an A level for me. Now let's get into NCAA. So NCAA 05 would be a B tier game. For its time was very good, very fun. One of the better NCAAs for sure. But 06 took it a step further, and that is an A tier game. Some people might put that S tier, and I would not argue. I could argue that's the best NCAA ever. This is the NCAA I probably played the most of. It's when it introduced the kind of like the run for the Heisman or whatever it was called, and that's probably my favorite NCAA. A lot of people might not like this. NCAA 14, I'm gonna put this in the A tier. For a lot of people, this is S tier game. I just don't feel that it's that. It's definitely 14 and 06 for me are my favorite two NCAAs. There's a lot of people that would argue, I think, that NCAA either 12 or 13 was better than 14. I didn't really play those couple years. I kind of had a few years where I didn't play NCAA as much, so I can't really speak on it. But 14, going back to it now, especially being the last game, it was a great game. The team builder, the dynasty stuff, I mean, so deep. The gameplay pretty good, but it suffers from a lot of gameplay issues, a lot of the same gameplay issues that Madden did at the time, and I feel like that gets overlooked, and that's what keeps it from being like a god level game for me. But it is a lot of fun, and if it is like a god level game for you, I completely understand that, because it is such a great game. But I just think, I'm trying to be fair, I think it's more of an A tier game. Now let's get into 2K. So the first NFL 2K, I'm gonna put that at C. Some people might have that higher. I didn't play this a lot. I had a friend that had a Dreamcast. I played a little bit of it. It was fun. I didn't really play it enough for me to personally rank it higher than this, but it definitely was a good game. It was what started, that few-year run for 2K that became, grew into something special. So while we're on that, we have ESPN Football, which I believe was 2K4. I think that's an A-level game. It wasn't quite 2K5. It was close. It set up a lot of good things for that next year to take that big leap, but it was for the time, very good game. I don't think this game was on par with Madden 04, but when we're talking about 2K5, that's another A-level game. I'm just kidding. This is a god level game. I think 2K5 was, whereas 2K4 I don't think was on par with Madden 04. I think 2K5 was on par and maybe even better than 05. It really just depends on your preference. I mean, it was only $20 at that. I mean, you got everything you could want and more in this game. It's not my personal favorite football game. Like I said, 08 for me, that's the most fun I ever had in the game. But 2K5, you can't ignore what it did. It was a game changer, and it sucks that it was the last version of the game, but it is what it is, I guess. Now, NFL Street, the first one, I'll put that in the B tier. Good game, had fun on it. I don't think it's a classic. A lot of people do. I just don't think it's a classic. I think it's great. Now, NFL Street 2, absolute classic. That's an A tier game. Some people would say S tier, and I would not argue that either. But for me, that's an A tier game. That was a lot better than the first one, and it was a whole lot of fun. I forgot 2K Football in here, the All Pro Football 2K. I'm gonna put that as a B tier game. Some people maybe have that higher. I think the gameplay is what made this game so good, but it didn't have a lot outside of that. Like, it didn't have franchise mode and things of that nature. It is a good game for what they had to work with. Was really a good game, but me personally, like, it's not better than that for me, and I'm just going, off of, my bias comes in here a little bit as well. Tecmo Super Bowl, that is another god level game. If you didn't play Tecmo Super Bowl, I mean, it is an old game, Super Nintendo. Man, for the time, that game was so much fun. Great game. I mean, just, man. Outside of any of like Madden 08, that's probably Tecmo Super Bowl is probably my favorite football game ever as a kid. I mean, man, that game, I can't say enough about that. Troy Aikman Football, another great game for the time. I played this around the same time as Tecmo Super Bowl. I would put that as a B-level game. That was a really great game for its time, and I think it had some innovative stuff at the time as well. Very fun game. Head Coach, the first one, I would put that in the D level. I didn't play it too much, but it didn't really do much for me. Now, the next Head Coach, I would put that as a C-level game. That actually was really deep, and I played that a little bit more. That was really fun. Really, it's a tedious type game, but that was probably the best version of Head Coach for sure. Blitz Pro, I would probably put that as another C-level game. I don't really have a lot of experience with that one. It wasn't like, I know it wasn't a great game, but it wasn't a terrible game either, so I think that's a fair place to put it. Now, the first Blitz on N64, that's either A or B. I'm going to put it at A because I had so much fun with that, and that was, at the time, another like groundbreaking new type of idea. And So many people played that. It was really a great game for the time and a lot of fun. Game Day 04, I'm gonna put that as a B-level game. That was probably like arguably the best Game Day. One of the ones in the late 90s was really good as well, but this was like Sony's football game at the time. It wasn't great, it wasn't terrible, but it was definitely above average. Game Day 04, really solid game. Now, Quarterback Fever or NFL Fever. Didn't play a whole lot of that. I know a lot of people really like this. I'm gonna put that as a C level. I think that's fair. It's, like I said, that's another one of those not great, not terrible type games. Now, Blitz the League, I'm gonna put this as a D level game. It just wasn't the same as the other Blitz games. A lot of people really love this game. It just didn't do anything for me. It had some cool stuff, some cool aspects of it, but I think D is just a fair place to put it. Backbreaker, I'm gonna put that as an E level game, solely for the collision, the physics, the tackles. That's all the game had. The gameplay was terrible. Like, I don't care what anybody says. This was not a good game. It was not easy to play. It was really weird and clunky. The tackles and the physics were just so cool, though, and we haven't seen anything like that to this day, so that's why I put that there. We're going to go Axis Football 18, and then we got Maximum Football. That's in the E level. They're not really good games, but you have to consider like what they don't have resources and money. They have like a couple guys working on it. So for what they have to work with, that's why I'm putting it as an E level game and not an F level game, because for what they have to work with, it's not a bad game. So I'm putting that as an E level. I think in a few years, if they keep doing what they're doing, they could get to a C level. They could make a C level game if they keep doing what they're doing, but it's just not there yet. I think it's like the Black College Football Experience. Never touched this game. I know nothing about it, so I'm not going to rank it. I don't know anything about it. Madden 20, obviously it's not out yet. We don't know anything about it yet. Going off of what we know about the game, I think this can be a C level game. I really do, because I don't think it can be as bad as 18 and 19. This is either going to be a C level game or a D level game, right? If I'm being optimistic, if what we've heard so far is true and it carries through, it'll be a C level game. It'll be a fun game that still needs a lot of work. That's what I think Madden 20 will be. If the things don't play out as planned, or don't work as they say, then it's going to be a D-level game. But I don't think it could be as bad as 18 and 19, just because it has career mode. They added the scenario engine. They added the abilities. They said that they have been able to clean up more bugs than in years past. So I just don't see it being as bad as 18 and 19. It's going to fall in the C or D, just depending on how well it delivers. I think its best case scenario is a fun game that still needs a lot of work. And that's where I have it. So that's my tier list. I'll have it linked below if you want to do one of your own and post it in the comments. Let me know what you think about the list. And as always, I will see you guys next time.